Hello, my name is Marcus Williams. I own a couple businesses out here in Colorado and going through a little bit of a divorce. And I feel like I'm at a major disadvantage as a man in this state. Um, my ex wife robbed one of my retail stores at gunpoint and was able to bond out on $7,500. She did it when I was out of town. So by the time she got out of town, I wasn't able to get my son. By the time I got back from out of town, she had bonded out and took my son. So I didn't see my son for almost a month until I went to court. The details aren't really that important. What's important is the fact that a woman can pull a gun on my employees, clean out my register, be arrested for felony armed robbery, felony menacing, and felony burglary, and still be able to keep my son from me. I'm a business owner. I have no criminal record. I don't want anything from this woman but able to see my son. The state of Colorado is enabling her to do it. Today, she had a court appearance on her armed robbery charge, and they dropped it to menacing. Well, we all know that things just aren't fair in this system, the justice system or the divorce system. So, as a male, if I were to commit armed robbery against my ex-wife, do you guys really think I'd have the capability of holding my son from her? No, I wouldn't be able to see him. There's no way I'd be able to see my son if I pulled a gun on my baby mama right now. If any of you guys out there right now pull a gun on your baby mama, you'll never see your kids again. But for some reason, out here in the state of Colorado, I live in Brighton, Colorado, and I own a business in Fort Morgan, Colorado. Out here, a woman can pull a gun on you and take your kids from you. And the state of Colorado is going to allow it. I'm like really speechless right now. I really am. My man just called me and said he talked to the victim's advocate and they're going to drop the charges when they've got her with 3 accomplices, 2 guns. They got the money out the register. They got witnesses. They got everything they need to prosecute this case. But the catch is, because we're going through a divorce, she can walk into court and say, well, I owned half of the store. So why can't I go in there with a gun and run his employees off and then commandeer the store because he's out of town? So this is the kind of fuckery that the state of Colorado will allow. I live in Adams County, Colorado. And these prosecutors don't give a shit. When they robbed me, there was 4 of them. 3 of them got PR bonds for armed robbery. The third one got a $7,500 bond for armed robbery. We all know if my black ass had done that, I wouldn't have got a $7,500 bail. It would have been up around 50 to 100. And they sure as hell wouldn't drop the charges if they had the money and they had me with a gun and they had witnesses and all this. So what I'm saying is the system just isn't fair. And I know my man O'Shea would say, it ain't fair. Live with it. Well, I think as men, we need to get together and start talking about this stuff because I don't even think it's a color thing. I think it's a systematic thing. All these men out here who have been separated from their children for no reason other than a spiteful woman, and the government basically sponsors it with a ridiculous court system and government assistance. It's not right. There's no way that this woman should be able to commit armed robbery, not only get it dropped, and keep my son from me. If there's anybody out here listening that can help me, if there's anybody out here going through it, Colorado, not Colorado, black, white, male, female, I don't care. But I think we need to start talking about this. And I think we need to start talking about holding these judges accountable. I talked to the lady at the newsroom today, and she was like, basically kept saying, well, that's a judge's decision. Well, so what? Does that mean a judge is above reproach because he's a judge? Nah, he's a human. He makes mistakes. They make mistakes, and they should be held accountable for their mistakes. They're out here just giving children to women for no reason, women that don't qualify, and they're giving them to men that don't qualify also. So I think it's a discussion we all need to have as Americans, because the only people suffering in all this is our children. I see it in my son's face. The only people suffering in all this are our children. It's a system made by attorneys for attorneys. All these politicians used to be attorneys, so they've made this really popular for attorneys. Yeah, if there's anybody out there, holla at me.